Thank you, everyone. Thanks to our co-hosts, Open Society Foundations, the Global Student Forum. You know, one of the truisms we acknowledged in our discussion document that we shared today is that the pandemic has made us reassess how we might differently understand the past. In a different time, this could seem prosaic or even academic, but not today. Today, the dire circumstances of the pandemic that drive our sense of urgency demand that we acknowledge our own responses to events as a society. As U.S. COVID deaths rise to a level projected by the end of the year to exceed the population of the city where I grew up, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we now differently understand the costs of tolerating science denial and the deliberate spreading of disinformation by elected officials and their regimes during a pandemic. We understand now very differently the costs associated with the lack of vision and leadership with regard to education technology, not like in Argentina. But for years, education systems have been more a casino for investors than a proving ground for innovation. When more than 1 billion students were forced out of schools, millions of teachers adapted to distant practice, the vast majority without the tools, training, or time, but nevertheless persisting, taking the lead to keep education going for millions of students. And as the COVID crisis bloomed, we surveyed our 385 member organizations in those 178 countries, representing 30 million educators, and they told us there had been little to no effort by education systems, the majority of education systems, to coordinate digital technology introduction or assessment with teachers. There was inadequate training and deep divides between the rich and the poor, urban and rural. And we can't allow ourselves to come back here in a year with regrets, especially that we missed an opportunity to find and act on our shared missions. And if we want resilience in our institutions, including our democracies and our education systems, we must build resilient collaboration between peoples and organizations such as ours. I know I've got 5 minutes, so let me be a little bit more brief on my brief. Regarding the teaching profession, education today and into the future will have a strong tech component. But the universal call is not for additional screen time. It's for the safe resumption of schooling with teachers and students together in classrooms. Effective education technology can only flow from professional pedagogy that builds on this student-teacher relationship. The casino must be replaced by collaboration. Guy Ryder, the Director General of the International Labor Organization, last week was speaking to my executive board. And he said that while no one should have needed a reminder about the complexity and critical importance of teachers' work, the pandemic has done this in the starkest possible terms. Hence, guaranteeing a place at the social dialogue table for teachers has never been more essential. And regarding education systems, no one, and I mean no one, wants to get back into classrooms more than teachers. A UNICEF report just released found more than 1/4 of countries reported not having enough resources to ensure the safety of all learners and school staff. With wide variations by income level, in low-income countries, this increased to 50%, compared to just 5% for high-income countries. Every day, there's new evidence that the health crisis is an education crisis. And we are in all this together. There will be no recovery or forward momentum unless we build solidarity. And this can't just be the unions or the progressive community, but a global solidarity for a strong public sector that puts people first. And that solidarity needs to flow from a clear commitment to equity. And for this reason, on Thursday this week, we're actually launching our teacher toolkit for auditing equity in education systems and sharing examples of how to shine a light on the existing inequities that the pandemic is exacerbating. Since early in the pandemic, I've been a member of 2 advisory groups to the World Health Organization, and we have promised to work with our member organizations on 2 specific and challenging pieces of business. One, we need to make sure that vaccines are available at a fair price, and there's no price gouging or profiteering a people's vaccine. No political disincentive for governments to make the vaccine widely available. Next, certain groups in the community, but especially teachers, enjoy a level of trust when we speak about the importance of vaccines and delivering the science about their efficacy. Educators can be powerful and uniquely credible voices, especially in areas where disinformation has given oxygen to the so-called anti-vax and other anti-science communities. As a profession and as a federation, we are deeply committed to the fight against disinformation. Our friend Amina Mohammed often says that education is the power strip of the Strategic Development Goals, the determinant of health outcomes, the determinant of environmental outcomes. EI believes education can be a power strip for democracy as well. Our 2-year global campaign to mobilize educators to support the SDGs was called the Unite campaign. It's an especially important word right now because, quite frankly, it's our only way forward. So, thank you.